Barcelona haven't been playing like Barcelona at all this season. Their play has lacked fluidity and patterns. People will usually criticize Xavi for it, but it has to be pointed out that 1 year ago and back when Xavi first started, Barcelona actually played the Barcelona way. Back in Xavi's first season, Barcelona did play fluent football. People were happy Barcelona were back like in the old days. So is Xavi to blame for Barcelona's un-Barcelona-like playing style? Or might Barcelona just be missing some players right now that they did have 1 year ago and that have left? In this video, we'll take a look at why Sergio Busquets, Jordi Alba and even Dani Alves were so crucial for Barcelona and why they're actually being missed right now, and also how to solve those problems. So make sure to stay tuned. Let's first look at Jordi Alba. Last season, he probably wasn't as good as Alejandro Balde anymore, but he did offer that extra option at left back so that Balde could be rested. Now, Barcelona don't really have any proper left back to replace Balde with. João Cancelo? Well, he's not Jordi Alba. Jordi Alba's typical way of playing was to make overlapping runs in attack and to occupy the outer left space, when the left winger drifted into the middle. But also to shift into midfield when Pedri would move up front, or to shift into defense to form a back three if necessary. He played wherever he needed to based on the overall movement of the team. That resulted in a very dynamic structure on the left, and consequently in a left side that was very hard to predict. Alejandro Balde is probably faster than Jordi Alba and is better at taking his man on and single-handedly creating chances from that left side. But if we're being honest, he might not be just as good as prime Jordi Alba yet. His overlapping runs and runs in behind the defense need some fine-tuning, and he doesn't have the same patterns in his runs as Jordi Alba had. Also, when it comes to shifting in midfield or into a back three, Balde could improve. He will often really just stick to one position, out there on the outer left. He won't really shift into other positions if necessary, which results in other players not being able to switch positions either, and an overall more static structure as a team. Now, is Balde to blame for this? It is also Xavi's duty to tell him to be more mobile, and if anything, the ability to switch positions during games is something you learn with time and experience. Balde has the potential to become the best left back in the world. We just have to give him some time to properly develop some patterns of play, and Xavi is one of the key factors who can help him get there. Sergio Busquets is arguably the greatest defensive midfielder of all time. If you lose that kind of player, it's only logical you'll feel the consequences in your midfield. Why was Busquets that good? Well, he was Barcelona's deep creator. He was press resistant. He could intercept balls. But if you look at those qualities, you don't really see anything that a player like Frenkie de Jong or Gundogan doesn't have. So what is it that made Busquets different? Well, positioning. Just like with Jordi Alba. Busquets had the IQ to always know where exactly to be and know when he could leave his position and when he couldn't. He would know that if the right back shifted into midfield, he could go and play higher on the pitch, and he would know that if the centre back moved forwards, he would have to fill in the gap in behind him. Again, having that kind of player at the core of your team resulted in a very dynamic structure. Both Frenkie de Jong and Gundogan don't have the same positional awareness as Sergio Busquets. And the sad news is, maybe there is no midfielder in the world with that same positional awareness. So how do you go about solving this problem? Well, Xavi has tried a double pivot. Is that the solution? The problem with a double pivot is that Barcelona have played with a single pivot for years, so getting used to a double pivot might take some time for these players. With a defensively solid player like Gavi, coupled with a deep creator like Frenkie de Jong, Barcelona might have a double pivot that will be sustainable for the coming years. And we have never actually seen Xavi play de Jong and Gavi together in a double pivot. Some people might say that Barcelona are supposed to play in a classic 4-3-3. But if you take a look at some other teams that are playing in the typical Barcelona way right now, some of them do play with a double pivot. Brighton, Leverkusen, even Man City have already played with a double pivot under Guardiola. Eventually, it's also important to realize that these systems are just a blueprint. The way it all comes together on the pitch depends a lot on the profiles of the players and the overall structure of the team. So, whether the right solution is a double pivot or a new single pivot like Zubimendi for example, Xavi just has to find a midfield formula that allows for positional switches during games and a dynamic way of playing. Even Dani Alves is being missed by Barcelona right now. But how? Often back in 2022 when he was at Barcelona, it would even become clear that he didn't have the level anymore to play at the highest level. But what he did have was positional awareness. Dani Alves under Xavi was not the type of fullback to make overlapping runs. He would rather shift into midfield, allowing players like Busquets to move further up front and again creating a dynamic structure on the pitch. Barcelona currently don't have a right back with his positional awareness. Araujo or Koundé will be too static and just stick to the right or move into the center to form a back three. João Cancelo does have the ability to play well in midfield, and you would think that the Dani Alves role suits him like a glove. He has even played there for Man City. It does actually suit him well, but Barcelona's midfield this season has been a single pivot in one game, a double pivot in the other. I mean, how do you then expect Joao Cancelo to always be the perfect inverted fullback? I think Xavi has the perfect ingredient to have a new Dani Alves, but Joao Cancelo can't become that player before there's a blueprint midfield structure in this team. Once Xavi finds a solution to his midfield, he can start getting the actual potential out of Joao Cancelo as well. And that way, Barcelona will be way more dynamic again overall. Barcelona's veterans might have been becoming older, but they all had one thing in common. Their positional awareness was amazing and their chemistry was world class. It will simply take some time for Xavi to find the right structure and for these players to get used to it to really make Barcelona Barcelona again. But eventually they will get there. That was it for today's video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed it, and feel free to share your own opinion in the comments down below. Thanks for the support, Força Barça, and have a good day.